Hello everyone and welcome to another biased game review by Andy and Dan.
Yes.
So, what we got planned today, Daniel?
It's been a while.
Yeah, it's been a really long time actually.
These are like
Bi-yearly.
yeah. These are rare treats.
These are little snacks for you to chew on, but only every other year.
The reason they're rare is because I do these I do on my channel.
Yes.
And so I have to work on them between other projects and stuff. And it's like fun collaborations between me and Andy.
Yes,
it's
it
actually
is.
what started Andy's YouTubing thing.
Yes, it is because
Well, me.
well, our original biased game review was our own game.
Yes, it was. We started by doing our own game, and then we were like,
we're not
oh,
talking about that though.
let's do this for fun. Let's just do other games that we like.
And we did.
We did, and we've done a fair few now.
We have.
The last episode, which was probably last year sometime, Dinosaur is 4, was sort of a reboot. Look, it's all shiny and good presented now.
Yeah.
You can look at the old episodes if you want, but you'll see it.
Look at that intro.
Yeah, just look at it.
You saw it at the start, but come on. Oh, just look at it. Look at it. Oh. I dressed up for the occasion.
Just going like a full suit. It's my boss game review.
So,
yes.
Today,
what game are we doing, Andrew?
we're doing...
Or games?
Shocker.
To celebrate the upcoming Pokemon Sword and Shield,
Which
time of recording.
3 days.
3 days away.
3. Look, 1, 2, 3. I can count. It's
Today,
as much as I can count to, but...
For those who actually followed my channel and the other game reviews, you will notice we've already done one, and that was just Red and Blue, so now we're following up with...
Gold, Shield and Crystal.
Yes.
And Heart Gold and Soul Silver.
Yeah, always.
Because we're just covering Gen 2 as a whole.
Yes.
And we're gonna...
We'll just
chat
about it.
Yeah. So...
First impressions, Andrew. When did you feel good to go?
That was probably right down the...
Clap! Death for everyone.
There's blood coming out of everyone's eardrums. So what's the question?
First impressions.
First impressions, those games were just pure beautifulness.
Pure.
I absolutely loved Gold and Silver. I bought it from store in town.
Woolworths.
Yes.
For those UK viewers.
Yes, Woolworths.
You will know what Woolworths is.
I bought it from Woolworths, and my dad was like, "Oh, you can go down. We can pick up a game."
Yeah.
I remember the day before. I was really upset.
Why, Andrew?
I won't go into it too much, but basically I was supposed to go and pick it up.
Yeah.
And then Dad was like, "No, we'll pick it up tomorrow." And then I was supposed to go and stay at my friend's, and then Dad was like, "No, you're going to go see the college with Adam." And we'd already had it arranged for 3 weeks that I was going staying at my friend's, and I was very, very upset. But that's it. And then the day after, we went to pick up Pokemon.
Yeah. What a roller coaster!
I know, it's a roller coaster of emotions. And
what did you get? Was it gold? You got?
no, I got silver.
Did you get silver?
Yeah, I got silver
That's awesome.
because I love that dank Lugia Kush.
Yeah.
I didn't know anything about them. I think at that point I hadn't really seen much about them. I remember being in primary school, and I think it must have been our last year, and I think it must have come out early in America or something, because he had a copy of Silver or Gold, and he showed me Sprout Tower, but he didn't really show me anything in it. And I was like, "Oh, what are the new Pokemon?" And he kind of told me, but he didn't really explain them.
Yeah.
And then, as I was going through year 7, I went around to my friend's house, and he had it, and it was stuck at Chuck's gym. So I was like, "Oh wow!" And then that weekend after, I was like, "Oh yeah, I need to go and pick it up. I need to get this game. I can't wait. I'm really excited to get it." And I got it, and I was in love with it straight away. Yeah. And I just chose my starter, went on my merry way, and I got to Whitney in the first day, and yeah, it didn't go very well from there, to be honest.
Yeah, Whitney's the
And then my friend was like, "Oh, can I try it out? Because I want to get it for my Game Boy Color."
Yeah.
I was like, "Sure, you can try it out." So he started a new game. He was like, "I'm not going to save it, don't worry." So then what he does, he saved it.
It's yeah.
And then I had to start again, but from that save file, I never started again.
Yeah.
I got all the Pokemon, and I was just like, it took so long, because I was like, okay, I need to transfer these over somehow. And then I started transferring them over, and then I realised I was transferring them over at too high a level.
Yeah.
For instance, like with Chansey, I had like a level 60 Chansey. I was like, oh, this will evolve into a Blissey really quick, and it just like took forever, and then it wouldn't breathe, and I was just like, why won't you breathe?
Oh yeah, that mechanic in 2 where it won't breathe.
I was just like, oh.
With the brimming with energy.
Yes, the brimming with energy. That meant like Ditto couldn't.
Shagged out, basically. But yeah,
just like,
speaking of brimming with energy, my first experience is fucking radioactive. Are you okay? You're having a hard time now.
Go on, tell me. Daniel, let me ask you a question.
Go on.
What was your first experience?
It's funny you should ask, Andrew, because I'm about to tell you. Yeah, I got mine. It was a bit different than yours because I think after Red and Blue, which I'd got later on.
Yes.
The space between me playing Blue, it's not super short, but it's quite like a year or so or something.
Yeah.
Because I remember by the time I finished Blue, I could never finish Pokédex because like no one else was playing it that much anymore. So like
yeah.
So I was never able to do it. And then like I'd always get like sort of like the unofficial Pokemon magazines and stuff.
Yeah.
And he'd always talking about like Gold and Silver and like showing me Pokemon I remember seeing. So I was getting really excited and he asked for it for Easter once. And I got it.
Okay. Do you remember the advert?
No.
I do.
I think I remember seeing it like a few years ago, but not like at the time.
It was like...
I might have done.
It started off and it was like a black screen and it was just like, Steelix. Chikorita. No, Steelix, Feraligatr, Typhlosion, Meganium. These are just some of the Pokemon that you can find in Pokemon Gold and Silver. And they just like ended.
Somewhat a brilliant advert. Black screen.
It was a black screen and it was like Steelix came on.
Oh right, it was just like constantly a black screen.
I think it showed something at the end, but I just remember it going like Steelix. Feraligatr.
Steelix did stuff to you, mum.
Insert quote here, but not gonna say it on
sensitive.
But yeah, carry on.
But yeah, and then I got it. The end. And yeah, I was just blown away by it.
It's just like, it's phenomenal.
At the time, I only had a Game Boy Pocket.
Oh,
so
really?
I didn't have a Game Boy Color because when Gen 2 first came out, you could still play it on like original Game Boys.
Yeah, it was Crystal that moved it over to Color.
Yes, which I found out the hard way.
Yeah, Dan had Crystal.
When I got Crystal and realised I couldn't play it on my Game Boy Pocket, and then I had to like wait until I got like a Game Boy Color or save up for like birthday or something.
Yeah.
Which I just got for Crystal.
You know what? And that was... I don't know, we're going to be talking about this now, but that was the first game that had the male and female trainer.
Yeah, it was.
It was Crystal, and they put Chris in it.
Yeah, Tull. Last name is Tull. Chris Tull.
Oh, right.
Just say, Andrew.
And then they replaced it with Lyra in Hargon Soul Silver.
For some reason.
For some reason. And she just had a stupid design, she had a stupid hat.
Stupid face.
Because everyone loved Chris because she was like the original female.
Yeah. And her design was cool as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I just really loved it. And I just remember just playing it. And I had to get like a hat, because I was just going through batteries like ridiculous. Yeah. And I had to get like a mains adapter.
Oh,
which
yeah.
Even then I'd end up going through, like, they'd just like break after like a few months of using them because I'd just be on it.
Oh, that was the most annoying thing when you played it. Like, they just like, you start running out of battery. And then your family were like, you're not buying batteries because they're too expensive.
Yeah, you'd buy cheap ones.
Yeah, Mum would always buy me
quicker.
Mum would always buy me cheap ones, and they were just like, oh. And I think I didn't have a battery pack, but I did have a mains adapter. But my wire was like,
yeah, my wire kept going as well.
It was like in the pin is actually inside the Game Boy. If you nudged it, it would reset.
I think I had something like that.
I was just like, no.
Yeah, it's just things like that you had to put up with. But yeah, it's just amazing.
Yeah, it was such a beautiful game.
And it was such like they took everything from Red and Blue and just like polished it to this.
They did, because like when you play Red and Blue, like,
it hasn't aged well. No. It hasn't aged well at all, really.
When you see the sprites and you're like, what is that? And it's like, that's a Vulpix. So you're like, is it? Is it
Are
really?
you sure about that?
And then you see like Charmeleon from behind, and it looks like it's kind of got like Dragonites face, and then it's got like a horn on top of its head, like, but not like the usual horn that sticks out. It was actually like curved up. Because they were like, the back sprites represented what they originally were.
Yeah, it's like old designs and stuff.
But then they did yellow and they polished up the sprites, but they didn't do the back sprites.
Yeah, it's just like whatever.
I was just like, okay. But then Ivysaur, and I still like, whenever I see Ivysaur's sprite in Red and Blue, I still don't get it.
I think we'll get on to that.
But the sprites they did, they updated the mechanics of it. Like the mechanics of Gold and Silver were just like incredible.
Yeah, well, we'll go on to mechanics.
Yeah.
that's the section. So yeah, what's the basic outline of Gold and Silver? The basic outline.
Oh, the basic outline was.
Like, I mean, it's a Pokemon game, so it's generally the same.
Yeah, general. The general outline of Pokemon is always like oh, you know what?
Need some words there, Andrew.
I do. The basic outline of Pokemon is always the same as like, oh, you're going off to catch Pokemon, you're going doing like the Pokemon League and stuff. But what was cool about Gold and Silver was that like you got your starter and Professor Elm gave you a task.
Yes.
And he sent you off on your way. And then he wanted you to just grab something for you. Originally you weren't going out on your journey, you were just going off to get something for him.
It was more of a like a sort of like Pokemon Red and Blue, sort of like the groundworks of setting you off.
Yeah.
To complete your Pokedex and stuff. And it wasn't generally sort of, I mean, it was story focused, but it's more sort of like the story was the general Pokemon outline.
Yeah.
And then they added other story bits onto it. But with Gold and Silver, it's sort of like an accidental thing at the start.
Yeah, it was like you accidentally did it, and then like some kid just stole a Pokemon.
Yeah.
And then we'll get onto Silver in a bit.
Yeah,
but,
we'll do all the story stuff later.
But like, yeah, you go off and then you come back. But the good thing about it though was like, because in Red and Blue it was all about, oh, you're going to go and complete your Pokedex for Professor Oak.
Yeah.
That was his research.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas they didn't copy that in Gold and Silver. Professor Elm's research was something completely different. So you were setting off on your journey for a completely different reason.
Mm-hmm. And
then you got to Mr. Pokemon's house. Mr. Pokemon.
Oh yeah.
And then Professor Oak was there, and he was just like, I see that Pokemon really likes you. You should start completing your Pokedex. So it kind of crossed the two over.
Yeah.
And then...
And also the thing about Gen 2 was that it was focused on sort of evolution and then the new mechanic of breeding that they brought.
Yeah, there was a lot
of...
like
eggs and stuff. Was like a big part of the story.
Because that was Professor Elton's research, was that it was Pokemon eggs and where they came from.
Yeah.
But it just made me laugh. It always made me laugh because you go there and it's like, oh, it's a Pokemon egg. Oh my god, what is this? And it was just like, it was a big discovery. Yeah. But then when you think about it in your head, it's like, well, every Pokemon hatches from an egg. Someone should have noticed this by now.
It was like, it's like the blurred the lines between sort of like in-game lore and like
the actual world.
I get like the game.
Yeah.
Because as a game, it's like, oh yeah, this is the first time I'm seeing an egg. But also in the in-game world, they would have seen millions of eggs. Yeah. So it's just like, what are you talking about?
And just like Professor Elm was just there, like falling into oblivion, and just like E equals MC squared flying past.
Eggs just like going around his head, just like eggs. It
just catches open, and it's just like,
and it's him holding an egg. It just keeps going and like actually zooming in. But yeah, that's the outline.
That's the outline of Gold and Silver, was that it was all about breeding and catching your Pokemon and doing the Pokemon League again. And
yeah, well, we'll talk about like sort of the continuation from Red and Blue.
Yes, but we won't go into that just yet.
But yeah, the outline's pretty simple. It always has been simple. Yeah, and it still remains pretty simple.
They've kept it to their.
It's still got to catch them all.
Yeah.
Still got to catch them all. Got to beat all the gym leaders. Beat the league. Become champion.
Which is very exciting. Apart from Gen 7, we're not going to talk about Gen 7 today.
Alright. Oh, also, what can I say now? That's gone. So yeah, Andrew, what about the gameplay and the mechanics?
The mechanics.
Therein.
This is my time to shine.
Well, I'll start by continuing what I said before with how much more polished it was from Red and Blue.
Yes.
Because Red and Blue, like I said, we didn't age well, and the big part of that is because a lot of mechanics and gameplay was very broken and glitched when you think about it.
I can pull up a list that you can put up on screen.
You can do. Yeah, go on. I'll just say the fundamentals were sound, but yeah, there's a lot of broken things. But Andrew, go for your list.
Well, I haven't got the list handy.
No, just pull out your brain.
But for instance, in Red and Blue, critical hits were tied to speed. the speed stat.
Yeah.
They weren't tied to like just a random like dice roll.
Yeah,
They were tied to speed stat. So when you fought stuff like Golbat, it would just always crit you, and it would always kill you. And then you had stuff like Gengar. Gengar was just like ridiculous. Like there wasn't that many ghost moves, but it was super fast.
Yeah.
And it was just like, oh my god, this is gonna crit me to death. And then it was just like all these stupid things like the speed stat, and then there was, if you use focus energy, instead of like increasing your critical hit chance, it would actually reduce it down to 0%.
Obviously.
Yeah. And then there was stuff like Poison was super effective against Bug.
Yeah.
Gust was a normal move.
Yeah, it was, wasn't it?
Yeah. I swear there was some other stuff. There was just like you could just break the game. Missing no glitch and stuff.
Yeah.
And then Gen 2 was just like, you know what? We're gonna scrap all that.
We're just gonna sweep it up and just polish it right up.
We're gonna polish it up. We're gonna make sure this game is not broken in any way, and we're gonna introduce 2 new types, which added a lot to the.
Did.
There wasn't many added to those types in that gen, but like when they were added, it was just like, oh my god.
It was meant to be an answer to Psychic Pokemon because the first gen Psychic with like the OP one, even though they said like their weakness was Ghost in Gen 1, there wasn't a lot of Ghost or Ghost moves.
There was only the only Ghost Pokemon were Ghastly Haunter and Gengar, and they were
and Lick.
Nightshade and Lick were the only Ghost moves,
and Nightshade did level damage.
Yeah. And just to add to this, Gengar the Gengar line was poison, so weak to Psychic.
So it's like, well, brilliant.
So they added Dark and Steel.
Yes.
And they were both phenomenal types. It's just like, oh well, that was actually a really good idea to add them in.
Yeah.
And then like Dark was like it completely immune to Psychic, and then Steel was resistant to a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
And they fit in perfectly. They didn't it wasn't like hard to implement them in and realize what they were weak to and what they were strong against.
Because if you think about it, they're pretty random types.
Yeah. But I mean, it's supposed to be like, I think Steel's supposed to be like the opposite of Grass. And if you think about
industrial, yeah.
Yeah, it's supposed to be like Steel, because there's like in the actual elements, there's like Fire, Water, Earth, Metal, and I think it's like Nature.
Yeah.
So it's supposed to be like an opposite to that. And then Steel was, Dark was just like, in Japan it was just called the evil type because all the like the villains had it sort of thing. It was like the new thing is for all the villains to have a Dark type or something close to a Dark type.
Yeah.
But then like you had Umbreon, which was just like, it's a phenomenal Pokemon to have, to be honest. It's just like so good. It's just like design wise when they did like the evolutions in Gen 2 as well.
Yeah.
They were just like, they were so good.
What other mechanics?
Mechanic like, and then obviously the egg mechanic.
Yeah, I mentioned eggs.
The egg mechanic was just like a big thing.
Yeah, because it brought in breeding.
It brought in breeding, and then that's kind of started better into that's like essentially how the competitive scene started. Because you had obviously like Gen 1, and like you just have a team together and you just battle, but you couldn't really do anything about it.
Yeah.
But then in Gen 2 they added all this stuff in. I don't know if EVs and IVs were in Gen 1. I think they must have been IVs, but not EVs.
Yeah, it was different. Because that's why I have all like candies and stuff.
Yeah. EVs were in it then because they had calciums and stuff. Yeah. But then Gen 2...
It was different now because I remember like understanding that sort of thing back then a bit more better. Because it had nothing to do with natures. As soon as I bought natures in, I just got baffled by it all.
Yeah. But we'll go into that when we talk about Ruby and Sapphire.
Yeah. Well, you can talk about it.
Yeah. But in Gen 2, one of the things they introduced in Gen 2 was egg moves. So you could breed a Pokemon
unique egg moves
to another Pokemon, and it would get a move that wasn't in its moveset.
Yeah, you could either carry it across from that Pokemon, or you could often unlock like brand new egg moves.
Yeah.
That we got just through breeding that normally wouldn't learn at all.
So it's like some of the moves that passed on were like ridiculous. So you'd hatch like a Totodile with like Surf.
Yeah.
The hydro pump and stuff. You're like, what?
I remember I got like the official crystal guide, and it had like a list of exclusive egg moves you could get by breeding, and some of them were just like really random, like neither the parent Pokemon would ever get.
Yeah.
But you could get it through breeding if breed two specific ones.
Yeah, you could. It's like one of the best movesets on a Elekid to get is like Cross Chop. And then the elemental punches.
Yeah.
Because it gets fire, ice, and thunder punch. But I think you could actually get those in that game, but you couldn't get cross chop.
No, not cross chop. Oh,
But you could get the elemental punch. I think they were TMs. They were TMs because in my Crystal Let's Play they were there.
Yeah.
I remember I had an Electabuzz on that. But you could like breed like, I think it was like you bred a Machop with something, because there was egg groups as well, and in the egg groups like so you'd have to, and some Pokemon had 2 egg groups, so you breed a Machop with something or Machamp or whatever.
Yeah, because you had like the humanoid egg group, and it was like Machop or whatever.
And you'd breed that with something that then was in Electabuzz's breed group.
Yeah.
And then you'd breed that, and it had to be like the female. It was always the female. It took the form of the female, and then it took the moves from the male.
Yeah.
But then you had stuff like Ditto. If you bred anything with Ditto, Ditto would work as whatever the...
Yeah.
So if you had a male Totodile and you bred it with the Ditto, it would still come as a Totodile.
Yeah, that was sort of like... That was like the basic sort of way to get the Pokemon you want, was to use a Ditto. But like the idea was meant to be you breed it within their egg groups, so then you get like...
Special Pokemon.
Yeah. Yeah, they were a big deal.
Another thing that was introduced in Gen 2, it just reminded me, Shinies.
Yeah, Shinies.
Shinies were introduced in Gen 2, and like, because they sort of forced the mechanic on you
with the story.
Yeah. And you'd go to like a rage, and then you'd have that storyline there. And it's like, oh, what is this? It's this Pokemon. I don't know if I'm talking about it right now, so I don't want to say.
Yeah, actually, when that event happens, if one of the trainers on the lake mentioned the pink butterfree as well.
Yeah.
So like, you start alluding to it from that point and stuff. And obviously, you could have been lucky before then to find one, but like in that gen.
But yeah,
really rare.
You know how you got them in that gen?
What?
It was a certain IV number.
Was it?
Yeah. And so if you got a Pokemon with a certain IV, but that also linked to gender.
Right.
So if you've got, I think it was like you needed an IV set of like 30 at each stat or something, because I think IV's got up to 31.
Yeah.
You needed it like specific thing, and it would generate a shiny, but that was also linked to male.
Okay.
So a lot of shinies were male, and you couldn't get female shinies. Oh, it was really hard to get a female shiny.
Yeah, because I remember back then, dudes used to emphasise that like males had like higher attack stat, but females used generally had higher defense.
Yeah.
Like there was like a general rule like you'd notice with the stats and stuff.
Yeah. And then that became non-existent. But...
Yeah, that's like a lot of my info's like grounded in like Gen 1 and 2.
No, yeah.
And then like it changed and you just haven't really caught up properly.
Oh, another thing, I just remember, another mechanic.
What?
Happiness. I mean, this was kind of introduced in Gen 1 with Pikachu in yellow. But it was actually made into a proper feature in Gen 2, where you'd actually have happiness evolutions. And to this day, I hate them. I hate happiness.
Well, yeah.
It's alright.
In my head, I was going to be like, oh yeah, they weren't that bad, but think about it, they were a pain in the ass.
Yeah. Because it's like every 256 steps, you would get 1 point in happiness, and every Pokemon would start off with a base happiness of 70.
Yeah.
And then you'd have to get 220 happiness or above for it to evolve. And as a kid, you didn't know that. Like, you didn't have we didn't have access to the internet as easily as we do now.
Mm-hmm.
So we were just like, well, why is this not evolving? And it was better if they were all low level.
Yeah.
And then you leveled it up, because then when they leveled up, they'd actually get points of happiness.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and yeah, exactly. The more levels, the more happy.
And then you could do stuff like you could go to the Haircut Brothers.
Yeah,
on different days. I keep thinking of all these mechanics now, they're just hitting my head.
Yeah, anything like giving him like vitamins and stuff and rare candies.
Which do that.
Do you say like keeping it first in your team as well and not making it faint?
So.
I know not making it
faint. Yeah, not making
well.
it faint. I think it first in your team did boost its happiness.
Yeah, there's little things that obviously they cut out, so you kind of trying to think it was actually really.
And then you go to the Haircut Brothers and you'd save it out in front of them, because they would give.
Sorry.
I just keep thinking of mechanics as well.
It's 4-1, a big one. They had an internal clock.
Yeah, I was gonna say also I thought.
So not only did it have time of day, which had day and night cycle.
Yeah.
Also had days of the week.
Yeah, days of the week, and they had the time cycle, the day cycle, sorry, and then they had like Pokemon appearing in those times of day. Different. And then you'd be like, oh well, I don't get up at this time.
Yeah, it'd be just Pokemon exclusive, like they would be fitting to be nocturnal or appear just in the morning, which I'd never catch because I was never up in the morning.
So you had like Sunken that only appeared in the morning.
Yeah.
And then you had like Hoot that only turned up at night.
Yeah.
But then I think if you... Another mechanic... we'll go into that in a second, but And then you'd see like Pidgeys in the day, but you'd see Hooter at night, and then you'd see Sentret during the day, but Rattata at night.
Yeah.
And Spinarak and late. Oh, they were exclusive though.
Yeah, they were like.
But they were morning and night Pokemon.
Yeah.
So it was like that as well, and then like Espeon and Umbreon were exclusive to day and night. Because if you were, when Eevee evolved in the day with Happiness over 220, it evolved into Espeon, and then Umbreon it was the other one, and then it was just like, it was just really hard to get it up if you weren't using that Pokemon. Because like you'd be like, oh yeah, I've used this team throughout the game.
Yeah. And
then you were like, I just want to complete the Pokedex, and it would take so long because there was like a few. There was like the baby Pokemon did it, but you'd need the Pokemon to get the baby Pokemon.
Yeah.
But then you had like Togepi, Crobat, Golbat to Crobat,
yeah.
Espeon to Umbreon, Espeon and Umbreon, Chansey to Blissey.
Yeah. One of the worst ones.
And then I think there was a couple more.
Happiness. I think wasn't like it was Pichu.
Yeah, but you'd need Pikachu to get a Pichu.
Yeah.
Yeah, Pichu, Cleffa, and Igglybuff, but you'd have to breed to get them together.
So
and then the other three will level up.
Yeah.
Elekid, Smoochum, and Magby. Can't remember what it's called.
Yeah.
And then also, talking about evolution, they introduced trade item evolution.
Oh yeah. But you have to give a Pokemon.
Yeah, to give it a specific item, so like Onyx to Steelix and Scyther to.
It was a lot of the older gens that are then getting new evolutions.
Yeah, there's a lot of Pokemon that got like old evolutions, and then if you actually think about it, if you actually go through the list of Gen 2 Pokemon, there was a lot of gimmicky, just not that impressive Pokemon, but you loved them all the same.
Yeah.
They were slightly they weren't impressive. It was just like it was just something that you thought, oh, well, you look at them now and you're like. They didn't really introduce a lot of Gen 2 Pokemon because there was only 100.
Yeah. Well, I'll get onto this later, but it was like Gold and Silver and Crystal were originally meant to be well, they were direct sequels. Red and Blue. Yeah. It was meant to be that was like the last Pokemon game.
Yeah,
like, it was meant to be like that. Those two games were meant to be like the complete sort of thing. So it was meant to be more of an expansion onto it with like a new region.
Yeah, but some of the Pokemon in there were just like phenomenal.
Yeah, really great. Really great. I just thought of the mechanics.
I did too, I think. Come on, you say yours.
I was going to say as well as the Pokedex, you got something called the Pokegear.
Yes.
And it had a radio on it, and you could also ring trainers and refight trainers.
You could refight trainers, and if you listen to the radio, actually, I don't know if that was a feature.
What?
I was going to say, if you listen to the radio, it'd say, oh, this Pokemon is swarming. But I think...
No, that was trainers' numbers.
Yeah, it was trainers' numbers, and then...
Certain trainers will tell you when certain, like, exclusive Pokemon
they'd be like, oh, Yamo's spawning here, if you got Bugcatcher Arnie's number.
Yeah, and, like, Quillfish and stuff.
Yeah, Quillfish Arnie... Quillfish Arnie... Quillfish Yamo.
Arnie's spawning.
Marill.
Was it Marill?
Yeah, Dunsparce and something else.
I remember a lot of it was the, like, Pokemon that didn't evolve and, like, were quite rare. Yeah.
And then, like...
In like the radio, you like I remember it more in Crystal where you had like the lucky number thing.
Yeah, you could listen
like,
to it and you got like
you
could get points and you could get prizes for getting those points.
You have to give them an answer based on what you saw on the radio and then go to the radio station.
Yes,
which is really cool. And also they had Pokemon March and Pokemon Lullaby. And Pokemon March, it'd make more Pokemon appear, and Lullaby would make less of them appear.
And then there was also something else.
Go on.
Two things.
I did so many mechanics on.
So they introduced so much.
You really did.
First of all, I'm going to go over.
You could
Headbutt.
Hey, you can mention the crystal thing as well that brought into genders.
Oh yeah,
mentioned it before, but like,
yeah, the male and female trainer were brought into it.
Yeah, I mean, as soon as crystal, it's male and female or something. But go on.
Headbutt, you could headbutt trees, and you'd find Pokemon in trees
HMs,
like Heracross, and they were like move learner abilities, weren't they? They weren't actually. I know you could get a TM.
They headbutt.
I think in Heart Gold and Soul Silver it was a move tutor, but in Gold and Silver it was a TM.
It was a TM, yeah.
But we haven't even got onto Heart Gold and Soul Silver yet.
Well, we'll mention
it.
Yeah. We'll just mention new stuff.
And if you headbutt trees, you could find Pokemon like Heracross and Pineco and Apom and Spearow. But what I was going to say is, if you did it at night, you could actually knock a Pokemon out of the tree and it'd be asleep.
Yes, I remember that.
You'd knock a Spearow out of the tree and it'd be like...
That's really cool. I like that.
And the other thing I was going to say was Apricorns.
Yes, so you can make your own Pokeballs.
You took your ball. You took these.
Yeah, berries, because berries.
Yeah, berries. Oh my god, I was just like
these special trees that you shook, and you got berries that you could like use to held items.
Yes.
You give them 2 Pokemon, and they used the held item, but it had to be like a natural item, like a berry or something.
Yeah, you could give them a berry, or like for instance, as we mentioned before, you could give Onyx the the metal coat, which actually boosted steel type moves. But if you traded it with an Onyx, then it evolved to Steelix.
Yeah,
it'd melt all over.
Like the berries, they'd use them in battle and stuff.
But they were all cool. They didn't until Gen 3. They didn't actually have like proper names.
They were just berries, and then there was gold berries, which are really rare.
But you had like the status curing berries as well. They were just like called a Pizen Cure Berry.
Pizen Cure.
Because they
Purzla Cure Berry.
Yeah, Pearls Cure Berry and Brun Cure Berry.
It was like, yeah, brilliant. And also, yeah, but the apricorns.
Yeah, apricorns were like, you got them and you took them to Kurt the ball maker.
Yeah, and he just make him into a...
He'd make them into a special Pokeballs that were actually originally all exclusive to Gen 2. And they were like different things, but I think one of them was broken.
Which one?
I think it was the Moon Ball. Was it the Moon Ball? Or the Friend Ball? It was one. It just didn't work.
Yeah.
It didn't work with what it was supposed to.
Well, the Moon Ball was really limited because it was super effective catching Pokemon that evolved with a Moonstone.
Yeah.
So it was like, well, that's limited to about a handful of Pokemon, to be honest.
It was, I can't remember which one it was. There was like the Friend Ball, there was the Heavy Ball, the Light Ball. Fast Ball. And here's the rest.
Yeah. But yeah, there was lots.
There was a lot of different ones. And then what did we say before? Oh, yeah, held items. And the berries, like, it would be like, oh, if you get to a certain point in your HP, your Pokemon would just eat the berry and it recovers.
Which is now like it's been used since.
Yeah, it's been a big staple in the Pokemon universe since.
I was gonna say bicycle, but that was in Gen 1.
Yeah, it was in Ben 1.
It was in Ben 1.
Oh, I don't know this. Yeah. Bug catching contest.
Yeah, there was different like new events and stuff.
There was all these like daily events, and then
that was based on days of the week as well.
Yeah, that was days of the week. It was only on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and then if you went around the region, there was a specific person who would give you an item, a held item, each day of the week, and you had to find them.
Yeah, they were all like siblings, weren't they?
Yeah, they were all siblings. There were 7 of them, and then they each had like an item that was good for a type, and then you'd find them on that day. They'd give it to you, and then the next day you could find another one, but they were always in the same spot. They didn't move, but you'd have to be lucky to find them.
I'm going to briefly mention Argon Soul Silver before we move on. Mechanics, the main new mechanic that they introduced, as well as revamping it, is they're having any Pokemon follow you. Oh, it's your buddy Pokemon.
I love that feature. It was so good. And all the sprites were just beautiful.
It's one of the main features I always want them to bring back.
Yeah.
I know it gets harder with every gen and have more like 3D again and stuff, but
it was such a good. The one thing they did like with Heart Gold Soul Silver though was the actual sprites in battle and stuff weren't that great.
No.
But the actual overworld sprite, they put a lot of detail into the overworld.
Yeah, you can tell
and it was so colourful. It just looked beautiful. Just everything about it looked amazing. And then like I think that was one of the first things they showed was like following Pokemon. They showed like Chikorita, Cyndaquil, and Totodile next, and you're like, oh my god.
Yeah.
And then the menu system at the bottom as well, on the bottom screen was just perfect. And then if you got the games, you got a Pokewalker, and you could send your Pokemon across to it, and you could walk around with it.
That was the first like sort of fitness thing they did with Pokemon, which was really, really cool.
I loved that. We used to walk up to Stafford Castle with like Pokewalkers.
Yeah, when you lived in Stafford, we used to do that all the time because it unlocked like certain out with.
Yeah, you could like find Pokemon in there that weren't in the games and stuff. Yeah. It was phenomenal. And one thing they did introduce in Gen 4 for it was 2 things. Were how was it called? Pokathlon.
Yes.
Because all the Pokemon had sprites, so you could take them into a Pokathlon, and there was all these different events that you could do, which I really like. I love the Pokathlon.
Yeah, it was really random. I don't remember doing it that much, but
we did it.
I remember doing it with you, yeah.
We did it a lot, and then they introduced the Safari Zone into Gen 2.
Yeah.
But into Gen 4, Gen 2.
Yeah, because it
wasn't in the first game.
No, they cut it because.
That's one thing we just. I mean, we can probably talk about that in a minute, can't we?
Well, we got the story out.
It wasn't a mechanic. It was more of a blessing.
Yeah. I'll relate to it, surely. Do you want to move on to story?
Yes, but then we're not going to go to Heart Gold and Soul Silver too much. We're going to mention them
We'll
briefly,
mention the things they added.
but we will go over it in Gen 4 when we get to Gen 4, because it does tie into a lot of Gen 4 mechanics.
Yeah, we'll mention stuff to do.
Yeah.
Storer
Todd children.
So we talked about the outline, the basic outline.
Yeah.
But also, the story heavily featured Team Rocket.
Yes, it did.
Okay.
The storyline, like Team Rocket, it was because it was 2 years after the events of
Yes.
Red and Blue.
Yeah, it's 2 years after.
Team Rocket were trying to get back up and going, basically.
Yeah, but they didn't have Giovanni this time.
They didn't have Giovanni. Giovanni had gone. In Heart Gold and Soul Silver, you actually find out why.
Yeah.
But that was an event, and we didn't get it.
I know, it's really good.
We'll talk about that again, though, in a little bit. And you go off, and you're trying to just do this event for the Professor Elm.
Yeah, you're trying to like figure out egg research for him and stuff while doing the gyms and all that sort of jazz.
And you've got Silver, who's just like he's really, really angry.
He's your rival.
He's not like Blue in the slate. Like Blue was just all about like smell you later. I'm better than you.
Sassy kid, wasn't he?
Yeah, and then Blue was like the kid you always hate in school. It was just like, I've got this.
Cocky, yeah. He was a cock.
Lads. And then Silver was just really angry. It was just like, I'm gonna, you don't deserve a Pokemon. I'm gonna beat the crap out of you.
And your Pokemon.
I'm
gonna punch you in the face.
I'm just gonna like destroy you. Basically, I've got this Pokemon now. This is my Pokemon.
Yeah, because he steals it from the lab.
He does. He steals it, but then you find out why.
Yeah.
Well, you don't, do you?
No.
Until Heart Gold and Soul Silver.
No.
You actually find out in Fire Red and Leaf Green, kind of. But we'll go into that in a second.
Yeah.
But he as he goes along, he begins to sort of realize how harsh he's being.
Yeah, as he gets more Pokemon, as he travels around too, he starts to realize like that he's been a knob.
Yeah, he starts really. He's
because he keeps losing to you. And
yeah,
like,
and then he loses to Lance, and he's like, that Lance guy was just like, he told me that my Pokemon, I was too harsh on my Pokemon and stuff. And they never get. What's funny is that until after the Pokemon League, he doesn't get his full team.
Yeah.
Because he has a Golbat, and it won't evolve.
Yeah, that's really cool. That nod.
And then after the Pokemon League, where he actually becomes like more in tune with his Pokemon and like a better trainer, he actually gets a Crobat.
Yeah.
But he doesn't become your friend, but he becomes like
he like respects you.
Yeah, he respects you as a trainer and stuff. And every Wednesday, I think it is, you can fight him outside the Pokemon League.
Yeah, he's there. You'll find him there. But yeah, the Team Rocky thing, they take over like the radio tower.
Yeah, like partway through the story, they take over. There's like
so
little
even the
bits
mechanic
of it.
of there being a radio thing in the game is used in the story, sort of thing.
Like, you go to. First of all, you go to the Slowpoke Well in Azalea Town, and there's like a big kerfuffle down there.
Yeah,
and they're trying to like
chopping off Slowpoke.
They're trying to chop off Slowpoke tails so they can sell them, so they can get money in order to keep the business going.
Yeah,
basically.
That's the best thing about Team Rocket. They're just criminals.
Yeah, they're just criminals.
It's like the criminal underworld, but with Pokemon. And they just like exploit Pokemon and stuff.
Yeah,
it's great. It's really fantastic the way they exploit Pokemon.
What I always find funny is like in if you're a fan of the anime, if you actually look at the female rocket trainer, it's Cassidy.
Yeah,
it was based on Cassidy. It was like
Yeah.
But story wise, it was leaps and bounds above Red and Blue, because Red and Blue you just kind of went to each place, but then there was more characterization in Gen 2 with certain characters. Like Blue just kind of stayed the same throughout the whole game.
Yeah.
Whereas Silver, he evolved, he changed and fit with the story, and then you get stuff like you have to go into the secret base under the place and you find the shiny Gyarados in the lake, and then Lance appears, who was just an Elite Four member in the first game. You're like, oh well, I don't know anything about him.
Yeah.
Don't know anything about the Elite Four apart from what they tell you there and then. And then you just like learn all this stuff about Lance, and like that he trained in Johto with the last gym leader.
Yeah.
Claire. I don't know what she was called then.
Claire's hair accessories.
And then like she was jealous of Lance and stuff because he went off and he became a dragon master, and she didn't. She was just a dragon trainer, and she was just sort of there. And she was stuck in the gym. And there was like different characterizations of different characters. And then when Crystal came around, they added Yusin.
We've gone over to the next category, characters, but we'll combine the two. Go on, yeah, Yusin.
And he was a guy.
Eugene.
Eugene.
Yeah, he was very angry.
But
in the anime.
he was in the anime as well.
Yeah, because the story mechanic in Crystal was focused around Suicune.
Yeah, it was rolled around Suicune. It wasn't. I mean, like in Gold and Silver, the story wasn't really revolved around Ho-Oh and Lugia.
No, they were sort of like just there in the background.
They added story elements into Heart Gold and Soul Silver.
They were more lore than story.
It was the first time where they put like legendaries on the box.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, because the story didn't focus around until Crystal.
Yeah.
They added the story aspect then. I was gonna say, one of the big deals was once you beat Team Rocket and then beat nearly before you unlocked
Kanto. Because everyone was just like, what is this? What's Kanto? And you go over there and you're like, oh, it's Gen 1! It was a very dumbed down Gen 1, but it was because they couldn't really fit it on.
Well, the guy who put it in was the Mario creator, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Was it Shigeru Miyamoto?
Yeah, it was.
Because he was like an amazing programmer and he found a way to crack it and like compress the data.
Yeah,
to fit,
they had to like take certain things out, like the Safari Zone. Like we mentioned earlier, the Safari Zone wasn't in it, but the fact that it was just there.
They fit the whole map in with like slightly redesigned and like with like trainers and stuff and all the gym leaders.
Yeah, you could fight the gym leaders again.
And there was some more story stuff in that.
Yeah, there was like little bits of story, but it was like character development again. But we'll go over that in a minute.
Yeah.
But yeah, once Team Rocket was gone. You went over to Kanto, and then there was like some, I don't know if it was supposed to be. You don't know because back then you actually thought that Pokemon was in the real world.
Yeah.
Because there was like certain things where it was just like, oh, Arcanine is popular in China.
Yeah, you reference like real world locations.
And like Mew was in Australia or something.
It's like
South America.
Yeah.
Like
Papua New Guinea.
Yeah. It's in the jungles of Papua New Guinea or something.
Yeah.
Because this guy came along and he was like a Team Rocket guy, but he had like a really weird voice.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I say voice, he was like,
the
way he spoke, his text appeared, it was like foreign, but you don't know where he was from.
Yeah.
And everyone thought they just like messed it up or something, and it was like, no.
Well, I didn't know, I just thought it was just an accent or something.
Yeah, they just like, he was just like part of Team Rocket, but he wasn't really part of Team Rocket because he didn't know what was going on, he was late to the whole thing.
Yeah.
And then, as a funny twist of it, he actually turns up in a later game.
Yeah, it was in like black and white.
Yeah, he's in black and white.
Yeah. But yeah, so after you beat the main story, the kind of region is mainly just like continuation with extra extra story stuff.
Yeah, it's got extra story stuff, and then
ties up some things.
And then if you do that, you unlock something else.
Oh yeah, the final.
Yeah, you unlock something else, which adds more story to it.
Yeah.
And that is, we'll go into it in a minute.
Depends what it falls under. Still falls under story, I guess.
Yeah, you fight Red.
Yeah, you fight the original guy who played as.
Fight the original trainer. He actually doesn't say anything.
Sort of based off Yellow.
Yeah.
Because he has Pikachu and 3 stars.
Yeah, it's kind of based off Yellow. Everyone thought it was based off Ash, and it's like, no, it's not.
I mean, in the way that Yellow was based off Ash,
yeah. But Red was his own separate trainer.
Yeah. And he had Snorlax, Espeon, and Lapras. Was it Lapras?
He had Lapras in Gen 4, I think. He swapped one of them out.
So he sort of made it more like in line with the anime because he had a Lapras.
Yeah. And yeah, in Gen 2, he had the 3 starters, Snorlax, Pikachu, and Espeon.
Oh yeah, that was Espeon, yeah, that was it.
And then in Gen 4, he had Lapras instead. Well, I thought it was a really cool feature to add, and you can actually rebattle him how many times you want, but you'd have to fight him, then do the Pokemon League, and then you'd fight him again.
Yeah.
Well, once you did the Pokemon League, like, it reset a lot of stuff.
Yeah, because you beat Red and the credits would roll. Yeah. It's like the last challenge in the game. It's like level 80 Pokemon and stuff.
Yeah, it was really hard.
Ugh. Do you want to mention characters briefly? Because we have basically talked about characters.
We've talked about characters, but like, for instance, like Silver, I think to this date, still Silver is probably the best rival.
Yeah.
I really love Silver.
That's the best character arc.
He has the best character arc, and then they actually expand on that within other generations.
Yeah, because Fire Red, reading the hint that he's Giovanni's son.
Yeah, like, like, what?
But it's just a random Team Rocket member says.
Yeah.
Giovanni's son, the kid with red hair, and then you think, oh, wait a minute.
It's like, what? And then in Gen 4, they actually confirm that it's his son.
Yeah.
And there's like an event with Celebi, and you go back in time and you see Giovanni leaving Silver
It's like, come back, Dad.
And then they did that. What was that thing called?
Generations.
Yeah, Pokemon Generations. They did one with
Luca like talks
to him about Silver. Talks to Silver about him, and he goes, "I don't know where my dad is." And then you see that in that you see Silver's sort of more appreciation to you because he's waiting outside the Pokemon League after you won it.
Yeah.
And it's just like it's a really cool way of doing it.
Yeah.
And obviously, Red doesn't really have a characterization. He's just Red.
Yeah.
Because he's silent protagonist, so they kept that.
Challenge, yeah.
He's just the last challenge, and then you have stuff like Lance, who is the champion in this game, and he talks to you and he helps you through that story point. And you actually team up with Lance, and then there's stuff like Blue, who was a trainer, and then he feels sort of like depressed when you go to Kanto. Blue's all depressed, and he's just like on Cerulean Island.
Well, it's because the volcano's gone off, hasn't he?
Yeah.
Because he's more like humanitarian now, because he's like less of a cocky.
And he was just like, you know what, like I don't feel like battling anymore. If you can show me you've got the other 7 badges, I'll battle you. And then he battles you with his actual team from Red and Blue, but he doesn't have a starter.
Do you know a fun fact? Have you seen the ROM hack to find Professor Oak was meant to be fought in Red and Blue?
Yeah.
And his team was like very similar to Gary's.
Yeah.
So it's like we had like a Taurus and stuff. It's really interesting.
Well, they should have done they do it in later generations now, but what they should have done was they did it in Gen 1, but they should have had a team based on what starter you chose.
Yeah.
Because he didn't have a starter Pokemon. It was just like, well, why doesn't he have a starter Pokemon?
Yeah.
But it's just a minor thing. It was cool the fact that he was there and you were battling him.
Yeah, and he was the gym leader. Giovanni's old gym.
In Viridian City. I think that was it for characterization, really.
Yeah, I mean, I was gonna go into instead of doing characters, we could do Pokemon, but we pretty much talked about new Pokemon and stuff. So.
I mean, we could do
I tell you what, we'll round off the character section by saying, what was some of your favourite Pokemon from Gen 2?
I have a lot.
Just a couple.
But I mean,
the first thing that's come to mind.
Obviously, Totodile. That was my starter because we said we were going to talk about that at the start.
Yeah.
But we would wait till a little bit. So my start was Totodile because I'm a water boy. You probably should have said that, but
I'm a water boy.
I love water.
I love water. What a statement.
Water Pokemon, and when I saw Totodile, oh my god, I'm dying.
It's because you said I love water.
I was like, I need water. And I loved Totodile, and I loved that whole evolution line for Alligator.
Awesome.
Another one, Houndoom, Houndour and Houndoom. I love their dark types, are awesome.
That was the annoying thing about them, Gold and Silver. Didn't get them till Kanto.
I know.
And with Murkrow as well. It's like one of the few new dark types.
Yeah, and then Sneasel wasn't available until
fucking Mount Silver.
Mount Silver.
The last area in the game.
What else? Phanpy and Donphan, Ursaring and Teddiursa.
Yeah.
Gligar.
Gligar's really cool.
Yeah, Gligar's an amazing Pokemon. And then it eventually got an evolution, which was made it better.
Yeah.
What else did it work? Ampharos. We've got to talk about Marie. The most confusing Pokemon in the world, but it's amazing.
Yeah, sheep into a
slightly naked
an upright sheep. Shade upright sheep into a.
I don't know.
We always said giraffe, but that's only because I had a long neck.
Yeah, we always said giraffe. I don't think it's supposed to be a giraffe.
No, we don't know.
We don't know what it is.
They stretched
and then it's Mega Evolution. It's Dragon.
Yeah, but then so is a Lowland Executor. So it's like at this point he fucking knows.
I don't know anymore.
He just has the power of dragon within it or something. I don't know.
The sheep is just like.
Go on, Andrew.
It's just like. It's like. You know, on Skyrim when it was just like the dragon comes out, it's Thompson Tank Engine.
Oh God's sake!
You just go like, and it's just like a Marie just go like. It's just shooting out all these bees.
What's it on for? Is that my Marie? It's a. What's Marie? When Marie was in Silver, was it?
Yeah, it was in Gold and Silver, but it wasn't in Crystal.
Crystal, that was one of them. Yeah. What's one of my favourite one? I really like Togepi.
Yeah, Togepi was like, I love Togepi. The idea behind Togepi was beautiful.
I didn't think I ever realised it evolved until I played it properly. And
yeah.
It evolved and I was like, oh shit. I always tend to use grass starters just because I always started with Bulbasaur, and now it's become sort of like
a staple.
The trend that I do.
Yeah, like I was always water, and then Dan was always grass.
Yeah.
For the most part, and then in Gen 7 we switched.
Yeah.
Because I went grass and you went fire.
Uh-huh.
And then we went kind of back to normal, and the other one you got grass. In Ultra.
Yeah.
But yeah, you did seem to tend to go grass. But I remember you starting again, like years later, and you were using Cyndaquil.
Yeah, Cyndaquil.
What other Pokemon? There's like a lot of Pokemon.
A lot of the trading Pokemon I didn't get initially because I didn't know anyone to trade with. So I missed out on like Steelix and stuff.
Yeah. Oh, Heracross.
Heracross is awesome.
Oh, it's amazing.
I always missed out on Heracross when I was replaced still because I didn't realise where you got him.
You can get it in Azalea Town.
Yeah.
It's like the earliest you can get it. I was just like, what?
Trees.
Why am I not doing this?
Really rare. But I remember in the magazine I got, because I got the official like Nintendo when he did the Pokemon guides, dedicated Pokemon guides, and they had the crystal one. And I always remember it stood out to me because it said it can learn
Mega Horn
like level 100 or something.
I think it was like level 50 or something.
Okay.
It's just like getting it to the extreme.
So, yeah, I'm sure he said something like that. I can't remember. But yeah, and it said like if you learn it, it has the power to like kill a Mewtwo, and I was like,
oh yeah, because that's what
it actually does.
Because
before then you hadn't heard of bug moves that are really powerful.
Yeah, that was like the first most powerful bug move.
Because I don't think I was aware of it until I read that about Heracross. I'm not sure Heracross was one of the few that could learn it.
Yeah, I think it
when
was.
It meant to be like its exclusive sort of move. Yeah, Heracross is awesome.
It's amazing Pokemon. I love Heracross. Who else is there?
I did love the legendary dogs.
Yes.
They're really cool.
Yes. I love the...
Not strictly dogs, but...
No.
Dogs.
Everyone used to call them the legendary dogs, and then when you're older and you realise what they're actually based on,
yeah.
None of them are dogs. Like Suicune's a Kirin.
Yeah.
Raikou's like...
I mean, Entei's more the most doggish.
But you're supposed to be based on a Chinese lion guardian.
No, but like...
But they're kind of dog looking.
Yeah.
Because Arcanine's a Chinese lion guardian as well, and that's a dog.
Yeah.
And then Raikou's, I forgot what it's called. It's like the tiger form of like an electric beast.
Yeah.
And it changes between a wolf, a man, and a monkey, and a tiger or something. It's just like really weird. It's like
of course, Andrew. But yeah, those are some of my favourites.
And Lugia.
Yeah, I did two legendaries.
Lugia and Hoa.
I didn't prefer Hoa that much then, but I appreciate it more now.
Yeah, I appreciate Hoa more now than I do when I did.
Just because Lugia sort of overruled everything. Yeah, that's really cool.
Lugia was a confusing Pokemon though.
Yeah. Because
it was like all about storms in the ocean, and it was psychic flying. I was just like, what?
Yeah, it was like when Gyarados wasn't a dragon. It was like, I remember Matt Holbrook was like, no, it's definitely dragon. It's like, it's not. I've got all the official books that tell you.
Yeah. It kind of makes sense as to why Gyarados isn't.
Yeah.
But
it's just still a thing where you make a Pokemon that looks like something, and it's not that type.
Yeah, it's just like, what?
But I guess it's like, you've only got two types together.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's some of our favourite Pokemon.
Yes.
Graphics.
The
too long.
Sprites were like, they were phenomenal. They were phenomenal.
They really did polish up from the mess that was
and even
Gen
like
1.
in the back sprites, they were just phenomenal. There was nothing wrong with the sprites or anything. They were perfect.
Mm-hmm.
And then actually, graphic wise, Gold and Silver had two different sprites. They had different sprite sets.
Was it the male and female?
No, the actual games were completely different.
Oh yeah, of course it did. Yeah. Oh yeah, that's when you started differentiating like the poses between versions.
Yeah, I think.
But then with Crystal, they did like small animation.
Oh yeah, they did animation. That was the first one they did animations.
That's another mechanic they brought in. Crystal
animations are beautiful.
Even then, you were just like
just like little.
It's like a GIF. Of like a 2-shot animation.
Oh, it's perfect though. And then it was just amazing. And then they had the animation on the moves and stuff as well.
But also like, because obviously Gold Silver were made for Game Boy Color, the colours of it were really rich and stuff. Because like Red and Blue, they sort of had like a washed out colour palette over each town, didn't they?
Yeah.
Palette town. It's really weird.
But actually, if you like actually played it though, it's like if you played blue, the atmosphere was more blue.
Yeah, they just have that sort of colour scheme over it.
I was like, okay, this is like horrific to be honest.
I know, and then red was like red.
And then when the battery started going low, it would go weird.
Yeah.
It just looked all like horrific. But then in Gold and Silver, they actually added the colours into it, and then there's like the night and day and stuff, and it was just like, it just looked incredible. It was just.
Everything was just so rich and nice.
It was just like it was on a teeny bab screen as well. It was just like.
Bab screen.
Your mum and dad were all like, "Don't play it in the car, you'll hurt your eyes."
You'd say like, "Whatever, Dad."
I was just like, "Well, why is it gonna hurt my eyes when I'm in the car? This is no different from me sat on the thing."
No, yeah, I'd play it at any time because it's an unlit screen. Yeah.
So I don't think specifically the car's gonna damage my eyes. Incidentally, I have astigmatism.
Just to gloss over your astigmatism, I remember Crystal was one that had sort of like cutscene graphics.
Yeah.
With Suicune and stuff.
Yeah, it did.
So that was pretty cool. Like, introduced a lot of like.
Yeah, it actually introduced
a lot of important things.
Yeah, I was gonna say introduced cutscenes, but it didn't.
No.
But it introduced some interesting cutscenes and stuff, and then like you'd have to find Suicune around Johto, and then you'd get the story point. Instead of going to the 8th gym, you went to the Burn Tower.
Yeah.
But then in Gen 4, they actually changed that up, didn't they?
Yeah, I think so.
So you actually had a story point with Ho and Lugia and the Kimono Girls.
Yeah. You did.
And that was beautiful.
Yeah,
like the overworld for that was beautiful. The battles, the sprites in the battle weren't as good.
No, but we can tell why with having sort of the overworld.
Without having all the overworld sprites, and just like all of them just looked incredible, and they put so much detail into it because they were obviously it was every direction that they could face.
Yeah, that's crazy when you think about it.
Yeah, there was 493 Pokemon as well.
Especially when you think as well, they made bigger Pokemon bigger, so it took like 4 sort of
like Wailord
character slot like squares. And you and like all the legendaries are huge, following you around and stuff. It's ridiculous, and then you just like appear in the Pokemon Center behind you, and you just come through the door. Like Lugia, just like, just like squeezing through, just like smashing through the wall. It's like I'm just bringing in my Lugia, and it's like, where is he?
Just like Aeroblast.
Just like crushing people.
Oh, they did like the move animations of like Aeroblast. It was like Hyper Beam, but then like the screen went black.
Yeah, it inverted and then the beam would come out.
Yeah, it was just like what?
It's so cool. Yeah, and all the attacks and stuff. It's very.
They did a lot better.
It was a very, very pretty game. Difficulty, Andrea.
It wasn't that difficult. It was the thing with Gold and Silver was it wasn't that difficult because the levels were a lot lower, and that's one thing I do wish they'd fix. But
yeah,
they never
the
did.
Pacing was weird because then they added post game Kanto stuff to stretch out.
But even then, the Kanto levels were a lot lower than what they should have been.
Yeah, I will say one negative. Well, there was a few, but the first thing I think of, based on what we just said, is it was harder to level up.
Yes.
It was very hard to level up in Gold and Silver.
Because there was no... Because you could rebattle trainers, but it was rare.
Basically, the best way to do it was just keep fighting Elite Four.
Yeah.
That's like the main way to do it.
And then you had stuff like...
Oh, and also the random... if you link trade or link battle with someone, that person you last would appear in this, like, in this building.
And you could battle them.
And then you could rebattle them, like, once a day. Which was pretty cool.
Also, I just thought of another mechanic.
Go on.
Mystery gift.
Mystery gift. Which is still used.
You could use the infrared sensor on your Game Boy Color and stuff.
What, the infrared... I was going to say something. The mystery gift thing was, like, really random because it gave you... Oh, another mechanic. It's just spilling over across categories there. But you could decorate your room.
Yes.
And you could get your mum, here's another mechanic. You could get your mum to save your battle winnings. You send a bit to your mum home.
Yeah, and then
occasionally, if it build up, she would buy you things and sometimes be exclusive dolls, Pokemon dolls and stuff to put and decorate your room with.
She could send you a Snorlax and stuff.
Yeah,
buy Snorlax.
Kind of like one of the last things she'd get you.
Yeah, and then
but you could get like I can't remember how you got like really like rare like dolls and stuff.
It was red.
But you could do like once a day and you have a chance of getting. Yeah.
I got a few.
Yeah.
But the thing with like in the pace, like the Dan said, the pacing was weird because you go from Violet City, then the next city there was already a gym, and then the next city there was already a gym. But because it was so hard to level up, like everyone always thinks that Whitney is really hard, and she is, but she's not as hard as you think she is. It's just that the pacing is weird.
Yeah.
And by that point, if you train everything up equally, then your Pokemon are going to struggle. But if you train up, say like if you train up your starter.
or like someone was really powerful fighting you. Or something.
Yeah, then you would have an easier time. But if that went down, then you would struggle.
Yeah.
And that was my thing, because I was using Croconaw.
Yeah.
And I trained up my Croconaw a lot, and then everything else was really low level. And when Croconaw went down, I couldn't win.
Yeah, it was just difficult.
It was difficult because of the pacing. She wasn't difficult in herself.
Because it generally pushed you quite quickly up to that point.
Yeah.
I mean, you could I just generally hang around and level up, but it was hard to because
It took a while.
low level Pokemon.
Because they were like, when you got to like Elix Forest and stuff, they were still like level 6.
Yeah.
And it was just like, why are they level 6?
You just have to like grind there.
Yeah. Ugh.
Pokemon League, was that too difficult?
No.
I think it depends on your team.
It does depend on your team. Like, there was Will, who was the psychic guy.
Yeah.
Then it was Bruno again. Oh, no, it was Koga.
Yeah, Koga was graduated, was
Made into an Elite Four member.
promoted. Yeah, to an Elite Four.
Then it was Bruno, and then it was Karen. And then Lance.
Baron.
Lance was hard.
Yeah, Lance was. Oh yeah, these really cool battles of him. Like,
Yeah.
really like intense struggles for him. I know things about Koga's. Was it his daughter or his like?
Oh yeah, his
nephew
daughter.
or someone?
His daughter. His nephew, Janine.
Niece. Yeah, niece. Or daughter. Yeah, it was his daughter.
Yeah,
Janine took over his gym.
Yeah.
Which is cool.
Yeah, that was a good. That was cool.
But yeah, difficult. It wasn't. It depends really.
Yeah, it depends on who you used and how you balanced everything.
Yeah, there were certain points in the game that certainly were difficult.
Yeah.
Definitely. And obviously the red was meant to be difficult because he was like
Yeah,
really
it was,
high level.
it was really high level and you couldn't level up.
Yes.
It's just like, okay.
Silver was a pretty good place to.
It was, but then you'd have like, they just have like Fampies there. And Tanglers and like Dodrios, and Sneasel and Donphans or Ursaring or Teddiursa in any version.
You'd just hope to find like Donphans and
Yeah.
Ursaring to like get loads of experience. Also, one thing, speaking of held items, you could try and get the very, very rare Lugia off Wild
Yes.
Chanseys, which is like very difficult to get.
It was like a 1% chance to find a Chansey, and then it was like a 1% chance of finding a Chansey with a lucky egg.
And also, you introduced the new thief. Where
Yeah,
if
so
your
you could
Pokemon holding moving a new thief, you could steal an item from him.
Yeah.
But you had to make sure you weren't holding an item otherwise it would break.
Yes.
But yeah, difficulty wise, it was pretty good. Soundtrack engine.
Oh, it was beautiful. And it was actually, the soundtrack was actually really good because it actually changed depending on the time of day.
Yeah.
There was like tonal difference.
Yeah, it'd become more like mellow and relaxed at night and
Yeah.
stuff. Yeah, it was beautiful.
The music was just perfect. And then when they did the remakes and stuff, they made it more upbeat and stuff. But
Oh.
they kept it.
Tell you what, I remember when I said earlier about having to use a mains adapter for it. Was just like falling asleep listening to like the music on the radio.
Yeah.
And like one of them in particular was the game corner.
Yes.
The game corner music like dun, 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 dun. It was like so good. Oh, it's so good. It's so good. And also there was another really good one in Crystal when with Blues. What's she called? Blues? Something. The new radio host, and she had like certain music. It was really
Mary.
good.
I know.
Mary was the.
Yeah, she was the
indie
reporter.
one.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah.
I can't remember what she's called.
Yeah, but she had like another one that was really good as well, and just like I know Eugene's music was that good as well.
Mm.
And
then the champion music was amazing.
Yeah.
I think the gym leader and the Elite Four music was the same. I don't think they had separate
Yeah, I
tracks.
think they were the same. Yeah. But yeah, and then the battle against Lance.
Mhm. That was phenomenal.
Yeah, so good.
I think there was a remix of Blues Battle, wasn't
I
it?
think so.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just amazing. Just like because obviously Red and Blue had really like good fundamental music.
Oh.
Still really basic, but then it's sort of like you just improved on everything in
Yeah.
the soundtrack was.
And then like they did a remix of what do you call it? They did a remix of certain music, it's like the Kanto gym music.
Yeah.
That was amazing. I always loved that, and it sounded like really powerful, and it was just like, well, not that one, but
I just thought I wanted to sing it. Just getting close to the camera. Oh yeah, music was great.
yes,
So Andrew, we talked fucking for ages.
we have heard Golden Silver because we love Golden Silver.
Well, it's definitely my favourite gen.
Yeah, it's my favourite gen.
It's our
Yeah.
favourite gen. It's our favourite gen, yeah.
Yeah. It's because I just have a lot of memories of Gold and Silver, and because it was the first time I completed the Pokedex in as well. It was the one I gave the most attention to.
I think it's also because like Red and Blue, we didn't know what to expect.
Yeah.
And it was just a mind-blowing new thing. But with Gold and Silver, it's sort of the follow-up.
Yeah.
So expectations were high. So like, there was this build up to it,
Yeah, it was.
and I think because it pulled it off and more, it sort of like blew all your expectations.
Yeah, it did.
out the
It
water.
just blew everything away.
Blew me away, Andrew.
Blew me.
So yeah, last thoughts.
I think you summed it up perfectly well. I thought it was just like, it was phenomenal. It was just a perfect sequel to Gold and Silver, to Red and Blue, and the Pokemon in it were amazing. There's a couple of things that I wish they would have changed, but
Considering how much to put into
yeah,
Game Boy Color.
it completely like beefed up the expectations of like what they could do and what could be possibly done in the future. But at the time, like Dan said, they were supposed to be the final games in the series.
Yeah.
And they went all out on it, and they made everything as pristine as possible.
Mm-hmm.
There was certain things that got cut back, but you didn't care.
No, it's crazy.
When you think about it now, like we said about the levels and stuff, and as a kid you didn't really care about that.
No.
But when you're growing up and you're like playing Hard on Souls,
Yeah,
it was like, I need to level up.
Yeah. That's nothing. Hard Gold and Soul Silver were like the perfect remakes.
Yeah, they were. The thing with Hard on Souls Silver as well is that they introduced not only Gold and Silver, they didn't just redo Gold and Silver, they introduced the crystal mechanics.
Yeah.
And then
they
added
made
more on
it
top.
one. Yeah.
On top of it, whereas like Omega Ruby Alpha Sapphire kind of did Emerald, but it was different.
Yeah, they did.
But then they didn't keep the teams of the Emerald gym leaders, which would have been better.
Yeah.
But again, we'll go into that in
We'll talk about it next time. Well, not next time, but next Pokemon
Yes.
Bias review. Oh,
What are your
do you
final
know,
thoughts, Daniel?
I just love it. I don't know what else to say.
Well then, Daniel,
Just my favourite
today...
games. What we have to cap it off, don't we?
Yeah, no.
We have to cap it off with today.
What score would you give it?
Our rating system is out of 10 otters.
10 otters. How many otters would you give it, Daniel?
I'm going to be controversial.
Oh, yeah.
I'm going to give it 98 otters out of 10. Some people say, why not just do out of 100? But we don't work like that.
I would agree. I'd give it like, if we were doing it out of 10, I'd give it like a 9.5.
It's probably also like nostalgia that cranks it up.
Yeah, just nostalgia, the Pokemon in it, just all the mechanics they brought into it.
Like if I was being impartial, I would probably just give it like 94, 95. I know it's still pretty high, but like
It's like 94, 95 out of 10.
which is pretty low. But yeah, I think 98 for me personally.
Yeah,
What do you reckon?
yeah,
Are you gonna bring it down on average, or is it gonna be 98 for you as well?
yeah.
Yeah.
I'm gonna
98 out of 10.
just put like 98 otters on this.
I'm not doing that. I didn't do it last time because we did like 60 out of 10.
I'd give it like a 98 out of 10.
Solid.
Just like the only things that bring it down are the pacing and the leveling.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I think that would pretty much be it. And then maybe stuff in Kanto, but the fact that Kanto's there at all is just phenomenal. So
miracle.
you can't fault them for that.
Miracle.
And it was like teeny. It was like this. That was the size of the chip they used. About the size of like smaller than about the same size as the Switch game now.
Yeah. I'll end it on a sad note, but a very profound one. Although the game battery inside the original game that lasted 10 years and died, it will live on forever in our hearts.
Oh,
See?
yeah. I don't.
Brought it back.
I don't dare.
It wasn't just going to cripple you with depression, and just cut it off. It's like, let's go!
I
They're all
don't.
dead!
I don't dare load up my Silver because I know that it's
Yeah.
gone forever.
Just
You
frame
can
it.
replace the battery though.
Yeah, but the save's gone.
The save's gone.
Just frame it and put it on your wall and leave the memories alive, Andrew.
Yeah.
That's what I'm doing with mine, actually.
That's a good idea.
Yeah.
Let's do it. But on that note, 98 otters out of 10.
Pokemon Gold
What is your
Hard Gold Soul Silver.
rating?
Yeah,
What do you think about Gold and Silver and Hard Gold and Soul Silver?
Yeah, what do you think of Gen 2?
What do you think of Gen 2 as a whole,
Including the remix.
including remakes? And what is name some of your favourite Pokemon?
Yes.
Just mention everything we talked about in this.
Yeah, just go through the sections, give us your thoughts. We'd be interested to hear them.
Nice. And we'll see you in the next one. Bye.
Don't forget that as well as YouTube, you can also find me across all my other social media, which I will link in the description. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe. Speak to you next time.